5 years ago, I thought my sex life was over. How am I going to tell someone about this? Why would they even put up with me? Is this my fault? What does this mean for my future? Should I just give up now? And then I got herpes. That's right. All those things that I just told you that I felt happened before I even got herpes. What is going to be so difficult to tell people? I had erectile dysfunction. For years, I watched inappropriate videos online. It's one of the most common vices. A lot of guys get into that. A lot of girls get into that. And if you're not careful, it can turn into an addiction. And unfortunately, there can be some health consequences. There can be some desensitization up here. And for quite a good number of years of my young adult life, I was in a relationship where there wasn't much intimacy. You know, there was no gratification on the physical part. And instead of just thinking, let me just end the relationship, or this is not working out, or my needs are not being met, I just stuck with it and used the internet, I guess, as my gratification. Now that's like giving caffeine to a 7-year-old, and then when the 7-year-old becomes 17, you take away the caffeine from his life and expect him to function normally. Expect him to not have, side effects, relapse, or go a little bit crazy. And if you're watching this video and you're a guy and you've ever struggled in the downstairs region, maybe it's because of that problem. There's something called PIED, so it's porn-induced erectile dysfunction. And essentially what it is you become desensitized to real life because artificial stuff online, or you can't get that in real life. It's so much more accessible, it's so much more intense, I guess. And then when you have a real life experience, which isn't like in the movies, we all know this, whether it's a Cinderella story, Disney, or whether it's two people being intimate online. It's never like in the movies. And you can have performance issues, and that's what I went through. So long before I even got herpes, I had immense amounts of shame around my masculinity, around whether I would even enjoy being intimate with partners. And for a large number of my 20s, honestly, I was probably really depressed about that, because I had the idea of, what's the point of life if I can't even enjoy sex or intimacy? What's the point of anything if this doesn't even function properly? Now you're probably asking, how did you get herpes if you had erectile dysfunction? It wasn't completely destroyed. I was able to be intimate some of the time to get herpes, but I never enjoyed it. It never really was that pleasurable, I guess. And I always had the idea of what am I getting a job for? What am I meeting people for? What am I dating for? If it's all leading to sex and I can't even enjoy sex, what's the point? And I remember genuinely telling my second partner, 2019, just so you know, I sometimes struggle with erectile dysfunction. Do you know how humiliating it is as a guy? Just because your entire manhood is correlated to your sexual ability. And for me, it's so my penis might not work. Hope that's okay with you. Now, I don't know if this helped me sort of face the facts when it came to a herpes diagnosis, but I want you to know that long before I even got herpes, I had those feelings. Feelings of shame, feelings of how do I tell someone, feelings of, is my sex life over? So in 2020, which was 5 years ago, September, when I happened to contract herpes despite my issues, how do you think I felt? Do you know what it's like to have erectile dysfunction and genital herpes? I don't know, maybe you do. But it was kind of not only does my penis not work, but now it has bumps on it. Damn. I know this is getting a little bit TMI, but I really hope that my story and my journey, whether you've heard it before or you're just hearing it now, can kind of inspire you and let you know that, like, it doesn't matter what happens to you. Bad stuff happens, good stuff happens, things happen. It's how you react to these scenarios. And at this point in my life, 5 years later, and I would say arguably 1 year later after getting herpes, my sex life is better than it ever was. My ED has improved as a result of lifestyle changes and mindset and putting forth an effort to make the changes I need to make so I don't end up with both of those problems holding me back for the rest of my life. And the entire point of this video is to let you know that the two choices post-diagnosis is either let this derail you, let it destroy your life, let it be the one thing that ruins your life, or you find the way that this is going to improve your life in some form or another. So whether it is motivating you to become the best version of yourself, whether it's allowing you to connect with partners on a deeper level now to find something more meaningful, or to stop having your time wasted by people who just want to sleep with you had you not had herpes or not even disclosed. Or maybe your dream partner out there also has herpes, and in some miracle of events, the contraction of herpes for both of you allows you to bond and allows you to meet. Although what am I trying to say? Allows you to meet had you not been able to otherwise or something. And if you're watching this video right now and maybe you're newly diagnosed, or whether you've been diagnosed for years, maybe you think like, well, that's never going to happen. Like, I'm never going to have anything good come of this. And I urge you, from the coaching clients that I've worked with and anybody that I've spoken to online over the years, when they zoom out on a long enough time frame, or when enough years go by and they genuinely want to change their life, or they genuinely want to see the light, something good always happens. You know, we always think about the worst case scenario and we invite that into our life. But at the end of the day, if we're always focusing on what we do not want and the what ifs and all the negativity, that's the energy that our head is always in, and we're never going to be able to like even see good things. If your mindset is going towards, I want to find an accepting partner, I want to be okay with this, I want to risk rejection just to find a partner, then your habits and your thoughts and your actions are going to align with that, and you're going to be able to start thinking, what's the upside here? Because I know there's all this talk online about like positive thinking, and while it's super cliche just to like be a positive thinker, it's probably the best option. And I know it seems like you're faking it all the time, like, well, how could I be positive about herpes or blah, 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 blah. But like, what's the best part about you having herpes? Have you ever asked yourself that? Because it's a very, very interesting question to ask yourself in any situation when something bad happens. I think it was from Modern Wisdom. It was like, you know, what's the best part about this situation? And you start tricking your brain into thinking like, well, wait, well, I'm aware of my status and I can let partners know. And after learning what there is to know about herpes, a lot of people have no idea they have it or don't know their status, and then end up in scenarios where you accidentally give someone herpes and they like get mad at you, or it leads to a whole little kerfuffle or something. So in a way, knowing your status actually makes you a good partner. And the best part is that now, maybe if you're someone who's had your time wasted in the past, guys or girls just, you know, using you and pretending, because honestly, there was a part of me before that was like, yeah, I'm probably looking for something serious, but I wasn't really looking for something serious. And maybe I wasted some people's time, and maybe some people wasted my time. So in a sense, using your herpes status as a filter to align you with people who like you for you, who want to be good partners and have an open-minded and compassionate perspective to vulnerable topics like herpes. You know, maybe it's a good way to sort of move through the junk and find the treasure. Or at least in my case, for me. Essentially, when I was diagnosed and I thought I have erectile dysfunction and I have genital herpes, and I have a addiction to, we'll just say, corn, I really had two options. It was like, well, I guess my addiction is going to get significantly worse now because I'm never having sex again. Or I thought I should probably try to fix my addiction, try to reduce the amount of stuff that I'm consuming, resensitize my brain and down here so that I can wear a condom and still have success. And I can keep my partner safe, and I can get back into a place where normal intimacy is enough for me. Because while it is my fault, and I take full responsibility, these things are very hard to quit, you know, any vice. And it was my fault. You know, I believe that everything is everybody's fault, and we have to take accountability for it because no one is going to fix our life. And nobody wants to fix our life except us. And for me, I said, well, I really need to get this on track because what I truly want is to be fixed. You know, I don't want to avoid rejection. I don't want to, I guess, feel, I don't know. My goal was always I want to fix myself. And I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed for years before I got herpes. And then I thought, well, I have to fix this now. And I'll be totally honest. There's been years in the last 5 years where I've had issues or I've slipped back into old habits because it's very tough to break these things up here, especially when you do things when you're young. And I have good control over my habits and my lifestyle and my stuff now, much better than it was years ago. But I still struggle. But I know the road that my habits and actions and thoughts and beliefs of my past self will take me back down, and I don't want to go down there. It's like I know that road, I'm not going back down there. I think if you can like future forecast or look back and say I don't want to be there, that's enough motivator to just like stop. Maybe it's eating food, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's the same issue I struggled with. You know, you have that version of yourself that you do not want to be. I forget what it is. Something about like, you think about the person you do not want to be. That's more motivating than looking at the person you do want to be. It's like you have, what's the study they did? Everything's like modern wisdom. They like had rats and they wafted the smell of cheese into the cage, and the rats would like run on the hamster wheel. I don't know, something about a hamster wheel. And then they measured like how intense it was or something. And then they had the rats, and then they wafted the smell of a cat behind them, and the rats would like run much faster. So it's like we take more action when we are avoiding something bad than we are pursuing something good. So to continue the story, I basically cut out the bad habits as much as I could, tried to resensitize, went on dates again, post-herpes diagnosis, met someone, and even the funny story, you know, I keep talking about the first girl I ever disclosed to. And I think I honestly explained a little bit to her about how like I had never, TMI, I had never had an orgasm through sex. Ever. Until after I got herpes. And when it happened the first time, I gave her a high five. I said, good job, we did it. And maybe I'm like a little bit insane that I'm just talking about all these things and like, oh yeah, I celebrated my first. But this is what happened to me. This is my journey. And I simply don't know whether I'm insane or whether I've just gone through these things and taken responsibility and realized that it's not what happens to you, it's the reaction to it, and that everything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you have control over the story you tell yourself and what your life is going to be like, even if things from before happen to you. Herpes is not baggage or luggage. It's just something, it's just a common health condition that you get. And maybe you got it sexually, and maybe you got it as a kid. And who cares? Who cares? If you care, it's going to matter. If you don't care, it's not going to matter. Other people are not going to see that you care about it. They're not going to let it bother them either. So I urge you, whether it's just for 5 minutes after watching this video, think about what's the best thing that can happen to you now that you have herpes. Think about what are the upsides of this. Think about the story that you're telling yourself, because last chapter, when you got herpes, is already written, okay? And you're staring at this new blank page, and every day that goes by, you're writing the next book, the next chapter, the next page. I don't know what I'm saying, you get the point. Every day is a new page in your book, and you're writing it by what you do on that daily basis. And as you go through your days and your weeks and your months and your years, what story are you continuing to write? Are you writing, this has ruined my life is over, this is going to hold me back? Because you're in control. Or is the story that you're writing, hey, in the grand scheme of things, this is super huge at the beginning, but it can't hold me back. I don't want it to hold me back. There are people out there who still want to date me. I have all these things to offer. And if you feel like you still need some extra help rewriting that story, I have a free 3-step process video in the description box. It's how I help my coaching clients rid shame, make disclosure effortless, and attract a loving partner. Give it a watch when you have some time. Because you inevitably are the only one who's going to take responsibility for what happened, even if it's someone else to blame, or even if it's society's stigma, or even if, someone said nasty words to you. We are the captain, okay? We're the captain. And there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't have to stay stuck forever. And there are people out there who do want to date you. And disclosure doesn't have to be this super duper scary thing, and someone's reaction to you doesn't matter unless you agree with them, because the things that you tell yourself matter so much more than what society tells you. Okay, and we can't be shamed, we can't be judged unless we believe it, unless we believe what people are saying, unless we judge ourselves. It's tough. I never said it was easy, but it's simple. Get educated about herpes. How do I keep my partner safe? How do I reduce transmission? How common is this? How can I reduce outbreaks? What's the stigma all about? Is it about herpes? Is it about sex? Is it my label for life? Do I have to hold on to this? Take that into step 2, which would be mindset and confidence and building back your self-worth. Why does this define you? Does it define you? What are all the things that you still have to offer? What are all the things that you want to have to offer? Maybe use this use this diagnosis as a motivator now to fix some things or improve yourself or get back to the version you are before. Because you're still the same person. Herpes doesn't change who you are as a person. You might feel like your life is different now. And maybe it is. Maybe the game is still the same, but the rules change slightly. Maybe the game gets harder. Maybe the game stays the same, but you still have to play by the rules. And you can either give up the game, toss the game board over here and never play, or read over the rules, think about them, prepare yourself to play, and get back in the game. And going back to the timeline zooming out thing, there's people I've spoken to who've had herpes for over 40 years. And maybe they've been depressed for 40 years, and maybe they've never dated. And the crazy thing is, like, these people inevitably come around. Maybe they find me after 40 years and say, I've never really talked about it. I got it many, many years ago, before you were even born. I wish you were around then. But something in them changes. And I think that another good lesson is that if you feel like you're going to live in shame for the rest of your life, and you're gonna die, and that's what you want to do, is like essentially end your dating life and end your romantic life post-diagnosis, then what fun is that? You know? You're giving up right now before you even give yourself the opportunity to make a change or to find love. So if you feel like that's not what you want, if you feel like you're eventually going to get a handle on this, get a handle on it today. Life is short. Time is not renewable. You know, whether it's getting some extra help from me, or whether it's joining a supportive support group, or whether it's just taking some time to flip the script and think about the positives of your diagnosis. The sooner you get a handle on going down the right path, figuring your way out of this, the more time you can spend being the version of yourself you actually want to be, thriving post-diagnosis. Because you can get it yesterday. You can get it 6 months ago. You could have gotten it. You could have gotten it 40 years ago. But people always tend to come around when they realize that it's hard work to deal with this, but it's even harder work to wake up every day hating yourself and shaming yourself and blaming yourself and wondering what if someone spreads rumors and wondering, you know, are people going to see my TikTok algorithm with herpes videos on there? And, you know, I can't follow you, Pickering Fitness, because it says herpes coach in the name. What will people think? I know. But one day, we got to face this. Just like how I faced it, just like how I used it to improve myself, use it to fix my life, used it to be able to help a bunch of other people out there. And I truly believe that maybe this was meant to happen. Maybe this was the universe telling me, your life is messed up. I'm going to mess it up so much more so that you have to fix everything. And there's no harm in thinking that way. There's no harm in long-term believing that this is going to be good for you. Not this is going to ruin your life. Maybe it's coping. Maybe it's not. But I'm happy with where I am right now. My life is better than it was pre-diagnosis. And if getting herpes is a small price to pay to start living the life that I actually wanted, I'll deal with that. Take whatever insights you want from this video, and if you want some extra help with your diagnosis, check the video in the description box. I'll see you guys in the next video.